Ekotürk'ten merhaba. Saat Farkı'nda her hafta birbirinden farklı konuları, farklı milletlerden isimlerle konuşuyoruz. Bu hafta İtalya'nın Türkiye Büyükelçisi bizlerle. Kendisini İstanbul'da yakaladık. Kendisi normalde Ankara'da yaşıyor ama İstanbul'da yakaladık ve yakalamışken bu güzel Venedik Sarayı'nda, Beyoğlu'ndaki Venedik Sarayı'nda İtalya'yı konuşacağız. Türkiye-İtalya ilişkilerini konuşacağız. İstanbul'u, Roma'yı konuşacağız. Hoş geldiniz Sayın Büyükelçi.
Merhaba.
Nasılsınız?
Hoş bulduk.
Çok teşekkür ediyorum. Thank you very much. Grazie mille for your time and for your hospitality. It's a beautiful palace.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, my first question will be on, of course, bilateral relations between Turkey and Italy. With a bit of historical background, Ottoman-Venice trade relations. We were fighting, but we were always trading at the same time. So I think also this palace, this Venedik Sarayı, also shows perfectly our historical ties. So could you please tell us about history of this saray, this palace, and relations, history of the relations between Turkey and Italy?
Well, first of all, I want to state that Turkey and Italy enjoy very good bilateral relations, and these relations are very articulate. We have very strong economic and financial ties. We have cultural relations, very intense cultural relations, and these relations go back to ancient times. It's not new. As you said, we have been from time to time fighting, but during all the time we traveled within each other country, and we also traded very intensely. Venice, for instance, was very present, as was Genoa, which were two of the maritime powers of the time. And this palace is, in a certain sense, the very proof of this long-term relationship, because since 40-50, Venetian ambassadors used to live here. And there was a very important Venetian community, and there were, in a certain sense, two ambassadors. One was for the bilateral ties, and another one was for taking care of the Venetian community. And this this ambassador was called Bailo. There is a kind of legend, but that even the name of Beyoğlu came out of the Bailo. I don't know if it's verified. You know, there are many legends around, but this one is certainly one to hear too. And the palace went through a very long history. It went through fires, it went through earthquakes. It was also owned for a while, for a little more than 1 century, by Austria, and then we recovered it in 1918. It was for a certain period our embassy to Turkey, to the new Turkey that was going through from the Ottoman Empire to Turkey. Yeah. And then when the capital was established in Ankara, it became the secondary residence of the ambassador of Italy to Turkey, which is still now.
And you come here a lot, I think.
I come here often to enjoy, of course, Istanbul and all its beauties, but also because the most of the Italian business community lives and works in Istanbul, and the cultural life is very active, and there are many things going on. Also,
we will talk about, yes, we will talk about
also
that.
by the government.
Yes, we will talk about that, Your Excellency. But first, since we just mentioned the trade, historical trade, I want to ask how is the current situation in terms of trading between the two countries? Because as far as I know, Italy was the biggest foreign direct investor last year, I guess. So how is the current situation in terms of trading between the two countries?
Our bilateral trade is extremely important It is going around 18, 19 billions dollars, but it's certainly below its potential. I think that we can do more. What is also very important is that it's a quality trade, in the sense that it's not commodities that are composing this trade, but they are mainly machinery, intermediate goods for industrial production, and the trade is very balanced, in the sense that there are as many Turkish goods going to Italy as there are Italian goods coming through here. And this is a very important element. There are machineries coming from Italy to Turkey, but there are also machineries coming from Turkey to Italy. And these machineries are an important element for the two industries to be more effective, more competitive, more modern, with a higher level of technology. So I think that it's a very high quality of trade. It has been going on for very long time. There are 1,500 Italian business, yes, installed in Turkey, and many of them are here since many years. They are very satisfied, they trust Turkey, they are very happy of their investment which is going on, and it's contributing also to the success of Turkish industry and manufacture. And I would also like to underline, you mentioned it, that we have been in 2020 the higher investor globally among all the countries, and in the last 5 years we were always among the top five. So it means a great trust in the economy of Turkey and its capacity to be competitive, to product. And I think that we should look at our two markets as entry points to wider markets, in the sense that Italy can be for Turkey business the entry point to the European market, yes, and Turkey can be for Italian companies the entry point to the wider Turkish-speaking area, to Middle East, and even now to Africa.
Yes, it's a great hub.
Yes, it's a great hub, and this is what I am trying to suggest always to Italian businessmen. We probably have a deficit in knowledge, in the sense that often people in Europe do not have an exact idea of how advanced, how industrialized is Turkey. And at the same time, I think that in Turkey there is a tendency not to consider Italy for its high-tech industry, but more for fashion, for design, yes, for food. While I like to remember that we are among the most industrialized countries with very advanced technology. We are one of the 11 countries with technology for space, for instance, for the conquest of space, and we are the second biggest manufacturer in Europe, after Germany and ahead of France and UK in terms of manufacturing, in terms of industrial production. And we hope that with the recovery that is, we hope, taking place after the pandemic, this trade will increase, and that we all benefit of a growing growth after the pandemic.
Certainly. We have a potential, definitely. And as you said, there is trust. This is one of the most important issues between two countries. As you said, there is trust. And we have something in common. I mean, we always say Mediterranean culture. So I think this is also strengthening our relations, I believe. So, Your Excellency, Italy has some of the world's most renowned artists, of course, from Dante to Leonardo da Vinci. So let's talk about a little bit about cultural relations. And I think this year marks 700 years of Dante's death, after
Yeah,
Dante's
yeah.
death. So first of all, I want to ask you, what does Dante mean for Italy and Italian culture? Is it the language, or it's more than that? And second, what kind of cultural activities you're organizing in Turkey in this year?
Well, thank you for this question, because when I was describing our ties, in a certain sense, I wanted to make also some comments on culture, because I think that this is very important.
Definitely.
And we belong to the same culture, the culture of the Mediterranean, and I think that each Turkish person going to Italy feels at home the same as does an Italian here. And this culture is very old, and it has been also a matter of exchanges between culture. Dante for us represents the Italian language. He has been one of the first writers to write in Italian, in what became then the Italian language. Quite complicated for Italians of the present days to read Dante is not always easy, because some words are quite archaic, and he has probably written one of the most important chef-d'œuvre of the history,
La Divina Commedia.
Divina Commedia, that is a description, a fantastic description of its present times, and all the personalities of the time were described. So it's also, from a historic point of view, it's a really treasure, because it really giving us an idea of what was happening, what were the traditions, and what were the power of the balance of power among the many princes and people that were living in Italy at that time.
Yeah.
You know that we had many little towns fighting each other,
Yes, yes.
and this is one of the characteristic of Italy, in which when you move 50 kilometers, you find different culinary traditions, a different kind of language, and also different habits.
Yes, and they still compete with each other, because I realized that when I was in Rome.
Absolutely,
yes, yeah.
they continue to compete constantly, and there is a very strong spirit of belonging to that city, to that little town, and they feel very much, and this comes from that time. But this year I think that there is a fortunate coincidence that this celebration of Dante is also a celebration of Janus Emre, and I think that those two poets really meant something for setting up the two languages, and they really left a very important heritage to our civilization and our two cultures. And we went through some activities celebrating them together and trying to find similarities, point of commons. Probably they had read something mutually, in the sense that they knew who the other was, because there was traveling around at that time, and even at that time, and it's important to try to compare two great cultures, as the Turkish one and the Italian one, and to see how they started from two great poets.
Dante and Yunus Emre.
Yeah.
It's a very good combination, actually.
Yeah.
So you're doing cultural events to cover.
Some cultural events that are, let us say, trying to combine the two celebrations.
Interesting. I will follow.
And we are also having some great Turkish actors reading some poems, some parts of the Divina Commedia. Some canti, they are divided in canti,
Yes.
and we are then putting it on the social media so everyone can hear that what was a canto of Dante and which kind of life he described.
Very good. I will follow more closely from now on the events that you're organizing.
Thank you. We will let you know.
Thank you. Your Excellency, also I want to talk about Rome. Of course, it's one of the most beautiful cities on earth, definitely. And I want to talk about Rome and Istanbul, similarities, differences. And Istanbul was rebuilt by Roman Emperor Constantine. And it's said that it was modeled after Rome. So I was wondering, after a millennium, does Istanbul remind you of Rome in any way? By the way, how long have you been in Turkey?
2 years, a little more than 2 years.
2 years. So
yes.
How would you compare two imperial cities in terms of, let's say, preserving history, architecture? How would you compare?
Well, I think that you really feel, both being in Rome and being in Istanbul, that they were the centers of big empires. And they left, those who lived in that time left us with great heritage in both cities. Another similarities that I see is that there are many layers of civilizations in different time, and you really feel that each street, each part of the two towns are full of history. They are full of reminiscences that go back in the ancient time, and you really feel this presence. You feel that so many people have been in that, where they have worked, they have lived, they have even died, and this sense of history is very great. And together with all these positive elements, I think that there is also a kind of problematic aspect, in the sense that having so many heritage makes running these cities in the present times, in terms of mobility of population, of building new house, with some problems. Yes. Because of course you cannot stretch it down, but you have to keep what has been left from the past, and preserve it, and make it possible to see, to admire it for future also generations, and this make the management of the town quite complicated.
Yes, it's a challenging task, and sometimes, you know, we always, I don't know how it is in Italy, but sometimes we criticize about, especially when it comes to preserving history and preserving the balance, the original architecture.
The balance between preserving what you have received from the past and make life easy for the present citizens is a difficult combination. Yes. But you have to keep an equilibrium among the two things.
So how do you see Istanbul's performance in this regard?
Well, I think that it's a miracle that things continue to run with so many inhabitants, almost 20 million. Yeah. People, and with such a difficult landscape, in the sense that there is the Bosphorus, there are up and down continuously, but in a kind of miracle, and some also important infrastructures, the city seems to manage in a certain way. Everyone are going, not in the last year and a half with the pandemic, but usually a lot of life, and everyone is going to work, and the city managed to survive in a always precarious equilibrium, I think. And the two things are quite comparable in Rome and in Istanbul.
Yes, that's true. And also, of course, food. Well, I cannot complete this interview without mentioning food, of course. Well, pasta and pizza come to our mind when we talk about Italian cuisine, but of course Italian cuisine is much more than that. So indeed, I think in Italy dinners are like not only for filling your stomach, but more like rituals. Long conversations around, you know, long tables with crowded people, so many people around the table. So I was wondering, what are your observations about Turkish cuisine and the Turkish food culture? What are the similarities and major differences you spot?
Well, I must say that, again, I find many similarities. As you said, for us, the cuisine, the gastronomy, is also a way to socialize with other people, sharing the recipes, and I think that this is something that we have in common with Turkish people. And I find also many similarities in recipes. And some of the well-known recipes, Italian recipes, have sometimes an Ottoman origin. And don't forget that in the ancient time, Turkey was one of the biggest producer of wheat, of olive oil. So it was extremely important. And you have also the fact that you have many weather, many climates within your country, as it happens in Italy. So there is a diversity, a great diversity of cultures, of cultivated plants, and this give a great richness to the respective gastronomies. And I think that you have a great potential, as we had, and to try to combine tourism and gastronomy. Because, for instance, in Italy you go to see monuments, but you go also to have good food. Yes, and at the end, it's a very good business, a very important business. Just to remind you that our exports of gastronomy and agro-industry is more than 50 billions. Wow. It's enormous. It's one of the strong elements of our economy. And I think that this is something that you can also reach and achieve in Turkey. You have a great potential for tourism, already very developed, but you can even do more, and you can combine the two things.
Yes,
you can combine the sea, the mountains, the heritage, the archaeological sites with good food, because everywhere in Turkey there is special recipes, all very good, with natural products that are extremely valuable.
What are your favorites, by the way?
I like a lot of things, and for instance, the lamb cooked for a long time with rice, baklava, of course. I like, and burek, and many soups also that are very much part of your tradition.
Have you visited other cities around Turkey?
I've tried. Before, I was doing a lot before the COVID, and then I had to stop for a while, but I intend to continue. I have some missing points, especially in the Black Sea, that I intend to visit. I've been in Gaziantep, of course. I've been in Kars. I've been in Erzurum. I've been in Bodrum. Of course, I've been in Izmir. But there are still many other places to visit. I'm very fond of the archaeological sites. We have 12 archaeological missions, Italian archaeological missions, operating in Turkey.
Oh, really?
And there are very strong ties between Italian and Turkish archaeologists. And there is the same respect for the heritage, and I think that we can do many more things in this area.
Excellent. I didn't know that. I will check which archaeological sites, those 13 you said, right?
12.
12. Okay, I will check. I didn't know that. Thank you. We have 1 minute, I think, to go, but Your Excellency, I want to hear your Turkish a little bit. So we talk about food. Nasıl gidiyor Türkçe? Biraz var mı Türkçe?
Çuçuk.
Çok küçük, çok az. Okay. You will improve, hopefully.
I'm trying. I'm studying.
I love Italian, by the way. I mean, it's a poetic language, definitely, but unfortunately, I just, speak few words, basic words, like grazie mille, ti amo.
Yeah, you have to improve that as well.
I have to improve as well.
And we are now starting courses Italian courses online.
Oh, okay.
It's
as the embassy, as the consulate?
As the Cultural Institute,
okay,
but it's covering the whole of Turkey, and we hope to start that soon at very affordable prices and very high quality, done by Siena University.
Oh, great. Okay, I will definitely take the course.
And I think that it's a good opportunity.
Definitely.
We are investing a lot on that. I am very keen on that because I think that language and Yunus Emre is doing the same in Italy with great success. You know that
the institute, you mean?
yes,
right?
the
Okay.
institute, yes, and you know that you have a very strong soft power in
Yes, it is. It is a
the
soft power tool,
movies, you know, and everyone knows Turkey about the soap operas.
Yes. Are you
that
watching any
are
of those,
produced.
by the way?
So some of it, but I received news about people in Italy that they know a lot of things about Turkey just by
And
looking
about the
at
language, they speak. Some
Yes,
of my
yes,
foreign
yes,
friends, for
yes.
example, they speak Turkish just because they watch.
Yeah,
those
of course,
soap operas.
because they have underlines, undertitle, but subtitle, but they hear
Yes,
also
yes.
the music of the language of the Turkish man.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful instrument.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Grazie
My
mille.
pleasure. Teşekkürler ederim.
Çok teşekkür ederim. It was a pleasure for me.
My
Arrivederci.
pleasure.
Evet, Saat Farkı'nda bu hafta İtalyan Büyükelçisi'ni ağırladık. Daha doğrusu o bizi ağırladı. İstanbul'da Beyoğlu'ndaki bu muhteşem Venedik Sarayı'nda İtalya'ya, Türkiye-İtalya ilişkilerine, İtalyan kültürüne dair keyifli bir sohbet gerçekleştirdik. Bir sonraki hafta bir başka konuğumuzla tekrar görüşmek üzere. Hoşça kalın.